Alright, where do we start? Ravens, Dolphins, Pennington. That's not the Pennington I know. That's not the Pennington I saw all those years in New York and that I've seen so far in Miami. You know, he played alright. He made some good throws. And at the end of the day, you can't say too much bad about his game. He almost had 300 yards, etc., blah, blah, blah. But that interception to Terrell Suggs, when you're trying to throw a pass as you're going to the ground, when you're getting tackled, when you're in the grasp, you might as well just ask the other team to pick it off. So, got to call you out on that one. That ended up being a huge part of this game, and there were other pieces to this game. Flacco was really able to just sit back and carve up the Miami defense for the most part. Really, the only person on that Miami defense who played too well was Joey Porter. McGahee played well, one of his best games of the season. But really, it comes back a lot to that play, and that's just an unforgivable mistake by Pennington. And their season's starting to go down the drain after a promising 2-2 start. Last 2 weeks, it's been brutal, killing the season. Ravens, still trying to figure this team out. I'm having a difficult time predicting games that they're involved in. They, just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And at this point, I just don't know, because with a rookie QB like Flacco, it's a complete variable. So, I don't know. I guess I see them as being a maybe 9-win team. Moving on, Chargers, Bills. I'm glad at the last minute I switched to the Bills. Well, not last minute. I mean, when I made my video, I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the Bills and see what happens here. And it worked out for me. I had the feeling that Norv Turner would throw up a stink bomb after the masterpiece against New England last week. It's just his nature. He's not a very good coach, and eventually he's going to throw up the stink bomb, and that's kind of what happened here. I also expected a stink bomb from Rivers. I figured he was due, but he had a couple turnovers, but he played a pretty good game. So I can't, he's still in the MVP race. If San Diego makes the postseason, he should still be in the MVP race, absolutely. On the other side, Trent Edwards outplayed him. Trent Edwards played great coming off the concussion. Great touchdown toss to Lee Evans. He's making it work with Eddie Royal, who's never been a big-time receiving threat from tight end. And, what else is there? Kawika Mitchell, import from the Super Bowl champion Giants. 7 tackles, a sack, a pick, forced a fumble. Definitely the MVP of this game. Huge contributions from him, helping them win this game. San Diego defense, no turnovers, no sacks, very little quarterback pressure. Didn't do much of anything right. This is the same defense that was elite as recent as 2 years ago and was the king of forcing turnovers a year ago. So I know they don't have Merriman, but Cromartie needs to figure out how to be a better cover corner, because he can't be a pure intercepting corner without Merriman out there. And I'm getting a little tired of LT. I've heard all about his toe. Like, I'm getting sick of hearing about his toe. I know he can't cut quite right on it. I know it's not 100%, but it's starting to get to the point where if you have LT in a fantasy league and you got guys like Chris Johnson and Marshawn Lynch as well, you might have to think about sitting him down. It's really gotten to that point, man, and I think it's time to take the Bills for real. If there was doubt before, this team looks like they're going to win the division. All they got to do is beat the Jets at least once and the Pats at least once. They don't even got to sweep. They just got to do it once, and the division should be theirs. Panthers Saints. I got a confession to make. I didn't watch much of these early games. I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4 because I had borrowed a PS3 and rented it, and I don't get that opportunity every day. But from what I was able to gather, Panthers rushing attack is back, and I love it when a team gets their running backs equal carries. Stewart had 17, Williams had 18. It's just a perfect balance, and I'd always try and do that in Madden, and while fantasy owners don't like it, I like it when it happens. It looks real good. Both had a touchdown. One, Stewart ran for his, Williams caught his. Jake Delhomme bounced back. The running game bounced back. The entire team, well, they bounced back, and they're back in the saddle. Saints. They just seem destined to be that team that looks really good and is really fun to watch but won't make the postseason, which is unfortunate because they are fun to watch, and they've lost some very close games that they know they should have won already this year. Minnesota, Washington, Denver. They know they should have won those games, but they blew it. Breeze is on pace for a record-setting season, and you get the feeling that it's not going to matter much. Bush is going to miss a month, so there goes their main playmaker. McAllister looks not quite like the old Deuce McAllister. He looks all right. I don't see Shockey quite making the impact that I expected him to. They obviously need Colston back, which will be significant for them. I'm just not feeling it from them right now. Steelers, Bengals. I flipped the game because the San Diego Buffalo game was screwing up, and I flipped the game a couple times, and it was like in the third quarter it was 17-10, and I was thinking, well, geez, they're kind of keeping this close, so we'll see what happens. Upset alert, And then at the end of the game, I tuned in real quick, and 38-10. So there goes that. This Bengals team, they're keeping it close. They're staying in these games, and eventually I have to believe it will result in at least one win. I don't know when it's going to come. I don't know. I don't. But I think it'll come eventually. They played tough against the Giants, the Cowboys, now the Steelers. Those are three teams we consider to be among the better in the NFL. So if Palmer ever gets back this season, and I'm starting to think maybe they should just shut him down and move on, they should be able to win at least one game this year. So that's them. Cedric Benson, actually, he's starting to kind of sort of make the most of his comeback tour. Maybe he'll be something in the NFL after all. I doubt it, but he hasn't played glaringly awful so far. That's the best thing you can say about him, but hey. Oh, and Chad Johnson had the best game against Pittsburgh he's had in a long time, for what it's worth. Pittsburgh, they started slow. Their offense looked rusty to start the game, and then Moar took over, and there's something to be said when the third running back on your roster has started in the NFL before, and that can be worth quite a bit, as we can clearly see. And that linebacker core is fun to watch. Ferrier, Timmons, Harrison, Woodley, all these guys just absolutely swarming on Fitzpatrick. Niners, Giants. Niners block another field goal and return it for a touchdown. Still get relatively blown out at the end of the game. Those are found points. If you can't take advantage of those, well, you don't deserve much more than the loss. I guess the J.T. O'Sullivan bandwagon has died pretty quickly. I hear a lot of clamoring for his head. Frank Gore obviously completely shut down on this day, and he was having a very good season. 13 penalties. Although, I gotta say, the Giants, they had 11, so this was a flag fest. But, the Niners actually had a chance to do something in this game, and JTO couldn't get it done at the end. The defense wasn't able to get pressure. And now Nolan's out, and you can understand why. And Giants, they didn't play great. They played well enough to win. They played good, played solid. Not a ton to complain about. I would like to see a little more out of them. Excellent job by their pass rush bouncing back from that game against the Browns. That's about it from there.